Alrighty, welcome back everyone to the next part of our Every Horse series. This is the Silver Bay Kentucky Saddler. Yeah, so let me just actually really start before I forget. Let me just go over the base stats of these Kentucky Saddlers again. So this one's no different than the other ones. This one's base health is 3, 2 stamina, 3 speed, 2 acceleration. And then once when you achieve max bonding, it's 6 health, 5 stamina, 6 speed, and 4 acceleration. So again, just one of the average riding horses. My plan for this video, similar to the other one, is I'm actually just gonna, I'm up in the Grizzlies. I thought this area looked really well with the horse. It's just kind of like just a brown, natural looking horse. So my plan with this video is I'm actually gonna ride through the Grizzlies here and make it over to Van Horn, hopefully. I'm now realizing that that's kind of far. But we're gonna ride over to Van Horn and I'm gonna go to the stable because I actually wanna kind of show what I changed about this horse. If you remember from the last video, I mentioned that I did not like the way this horse looked naturally. This is like the one horse in the game that when an NPC is riding it, I just feel like it looks a little awkward because naturally this horse comes with a kind of white creamish colored mane and tail, which it just kind of makes it look weird. But so I swapped the mane and tail for a black mane and tail. Because I feel like it matched it a little bit better. So I did that just because if this horse had like white socks on it, I think it would look okay to have a white mane and tail, but because this horse has like kind of just a darker brown colored feet than its body, I felt like the black mane and tail looked a little bit more natural. But actually let me hop off really quick. Oh, bad time to hop off. There's some wolves. I guess we'll be able to see it in action a little bit. Maybe, if they care about me. Oh, there we go. So like I mentioned with the other Kentucky Saddlers, they don't do the greatest around predators. They're not horrendous, but they, do get a little bit agitated. But as you can see, just calming it once or twice, you're just fine. Poor guy over there. Yeah, so let's we kind of have a little ways to go, so as I give my thoughts on the horse, let's just head over that way. Oh, that's what I was gonna do. Let me hop off and show you the horse really quick. So this one's actually a mare. I named it Cinnamon. I felt like that was a pretty good name for just a brown horse like this. Yeah, so something that I want to mention that I discovered right off the bat that I thought that initially had to do with the horse's gender, but actually ended up being a bonding thing that I guess I kind of discovered. I mean, it kind of seems like an obvious thing, but it's just a little mechanic of the game that I think is interesting. So when I very first got it, I noticed that when I first got into gunfights, when I first got the horse, it would get really agitated. It would make a lot of noise. It wouldn't necessarily pull me a certain direction or try to go its own way. It still just did everything that I wanted it to, but it seemed to just kind of make a ton of noise. And when I was thinking back to the previous horse, the Chestnut Pinto horse, I remembered that it didn't do that all that much. And so I was at first thinking it was a gender thing, like that maybe like mare horses kind of just make a little bit more noise when it's when they're in combat, but it turned out it was just a bonding thing. So as soon as I got the bonding level up on the horse, it stopped doing it. So now it does great in combat, surprisingly well. Like I said with the other Kentucky Saddlers, they do really great, which is surprising. But let me actually, I'm not too familiar with this area of the map, so let me just put a waypoint really quick just so we know where we're going. Yeah, we'll just head over here to Van Horn to the stables, just so I can show you what the horse looks like with the natural mane and tail over the one that I currently have on it. So yeah, this horse has been good. I actually, when I very first got the horse and I swapped the mane and tail color, I actually really liked it. Like I was really surprised by it. I remember in the previous video I said that this horse I knew I wasn't gonna like very much because I thought it was not a very good looking horse. It stood out weird when NPCs are riding them, but it actually turns out that when I swapped the mane and tail of the horse, I thought that it was a actually really good looking horse. I think this one it is really good looking. It looks very similar to one of the Morgan horses. I don't know exactly what the coat is called, but there is a Morgan coat that looks almost identical to this, where it's a darker brown colored horse with like a black mane and tail, which I mean seems like every horse in the game, but yeah. So this horse, something that, and I don't know if this is just something going on with the game currently, I'll have to see on the next horse that I do. Something I did notice about this horse specifically was when I would whistle for it, it seemed to appear at a lot further distances than any of the other horses I've used. So when I would whistle for it, it would take it forever to come over to me. I don't know if that's just an issue we've got going on with Red Dead Online currently, and everyone's experiencing that, where the horse just seems to kind of spawn at a far distance, or if it was specifically this horse. As far as combat, like I said, this horse does surprisingly well. There's two players behind me, so I'm trying to ride away quickly so I don't get griefed here. Yeah, when it comes to combat, the horse does surprisingly well. Just like all of the other Kentucky Saddlers, I am a lot more surprised by them than I thought I would be. When it comes to predators, it's the same as the other Kentucky Saddlers. It's not the greatest. It will buck you if you don't do a good job of calming it, but it's not going to buck you immediately unless it gets surprised and you get surprised by the predator. But if you see the predator at first, you should be just fine. But something I did notice about this horse that was similar to the black Kentucky Saddler was that it is very clumsy. I don't know if it's just me being a little bit lazy with my handling of the horse or what, but I noticed that I've crashed on this horse a lot more than the other ones. I'm just going to keep an eye on that. I know that it's probably just a placebo thing, but it, you know, maybe it's a gender thing. I doubt it is a gender thing, but you know, maybe it could be. There is a thoroughbred that I have in my stable currently that I've had for a long time that also is very clumsy, so it could be a gender thing as well, or maybe it's just I'm going to try to avoid this. Or actually, you know what? I might die here because I always seem to die on these things, but we'll try this. So just so you can see it in combat, I'm gonna kind of go quiet so you guys can just kind of listen to the horse. I'm gonna stop commentating now. There we go. So as you see, the horse is a little bit agitated, maybe more so than, you know, a more combat-based horse like a war horse would be, but not terrible. I didn't feel like I struggled to handle it there. I kind of felt like maybe my camera angle was a little bit bad there. I had it a little bit too close. It was hard to see, but as you can see, the horse is not terrible at combat. It's still a little bit agitated. I do feel like it made more noise during that fight than it has recently, so I guess I'll keep an eye on that as well, of how much noise the, you know, females make compared to the males. But yeah, so just I guess my wrap-up thoughts as we pull into the stable and I show you what it looks like by default. Again, it's I don't notice a significant difference with the Kentucky Sattlers. This is actually the last one we're going to be doing before we move on to the Morgans. So for combat for the Kentucky Sattlers, they, you know, do surprisingly better than I thought. When it comes to predators, as long as you're doing okay at calming the horse, it's going to be just fine. And the only really difference I've seen is like between the Kentucky Sattlers is crashing and maybe the noise that they make. But I'll keep an eye on those things as the series goes on. But let me put it back in the stable here really quick, and I'll kind of show you what it looks like by default, and you guys can kind of make your own decision as to what you think looks better, but me personally, I think that it looks better with the black mane and tail. But I'll equip the default stuff, and then I'll bring it back out of the Sable for a second, just to show you what it looks like outside, and not just in the stable. Okay. So here is what it looks like by default. Looking at it now, it doesn't look, I mean, definitely isn't great looking, but it's not horrible looking. I think the only thing that bugs me, and I think you can see it pretty well here, is I don't like that the legs transition from like this nice bronze color to like a dull, like dark brown. It makes the horse's feet look like they're constantly dirty. And I think that if the feet didn't do that, like if the legs didn't transition to that darker color, I think that this mane and tail would look just fine. But because it gives this weird, you know, color difference between the top of the horse and the bottom of the horse, where it transitions from like light to dark, I think it makes it look a little bit weird. So me personally, I do like the black mane and tail to try to match the darker colored legs, but I really wish that the horse didn't transition color like that, and I think that it would look great with the mane and tail that it currently has, because then it matches its spots on its face. But yeah, this has been the Silver Bay Kentucky Saddler, and in the next video we'll be moving on to the First and the Morgans, and I'm actually super excited for those because there's quite a few of them, and they're actually horses that a lot of people, you know, label as the worst horse in the game, and so I'm kind of curious to give them a try. And yeah, so thank you all so much for watching. These videos have, you know, been getting a few more views than my single player playthrough and, you know, some of my other videos, so it's been really awesome. And I know that it's dumb, but I've actually, you know, gained 2 subscribers over the past couple weeks since starting this series, so it's really cool to see. And you know, I don't get anything for making these videos, I just do it in my free time for fun. But thank you all so much for watching the video, and I will catch you all in the next one.